Beware, out of the ash, I rise with my red hair, and I eat men like air. I came across these lines from Lady Lazarus by Sylvia Plath in my college. These are not sentences you read once, but these are sentences that read you. I have never forgotten these lines. I remember where exactly was I sitting when I read them. I didn't fully understand the poem. I needed a lot of references about her life before articulation. I couldn't have explained its structure or its symbolism in a sophisticated way, but I felt it. It startled me. It felt dangerous, defiant, almost excessive in its power, and I loved it. Years have passed. I've read hundreds of other poems, but those lines never left. They haunt me, they inspire me, they return to me in moments when I need courage. I've learned to take that kind of attachment seriously. When a line follows you years after year, it's not about literary admiration, it's about emotional recognition. Back then, I didn't consciously think I need to rise from ash. I didn't frame my life in such dramatic terms. I did not name myself a phoenix. But internally, I was navigating small dismissals, doubts, the subtle pressure to be agreeable, always, the quiet fear of being too much, of never being enough. And here was this voice, unapologetic, almost feral in its refusal to shrink. Beware. Even that word feels like a warning to anyone who underestimates her. The lines carried a posture I didn't yet embody but wanted to. Carl Jung wrote about archetypes, powerful symbolic patterns that resonate across individuals. The image of rising from ash taps into something ancient, destruction followed by renewal. But Plath's version is not gentle rebirth, it is fierce reclamation. And perhaps that's why it stayed. It gave language to a strength I hadn't fully permitted myself. This is what emotional resonance does. It doesn't just reflect who you are, it sometimes reflects who you're becoming. When a line stays with you for years, you usually attaches to one of three things: a wound, a value, or a hidden desire. For me, those lines held all three. There was a wound, moments of feeling underestimated. There was a value, independence, intensity, self possession. And there was a desire to rise without apology, to stop apologizing for just being. That's why the lines still visit me. Even now, when I read, "Out of the ash I rise," it doesn't feel theatrical, it feels grounding. It reminds me that survival can be powerful and not passive. As a journaling practice, this is where the page becomes important. If you have a line that has followed you for years, don't just admire it. Interrogate it gently. Write, who was I when I first loved this line? What was happening in my life? What did the sentence give me permission to feel? You may realize that the line acted like a quiet ally. Consider how often people return to Maya Angelou saying, "Still I rise." Those words become anchors during hardships. Or how readers carry Rilke urging patience with uncertainty. Certain lines functions like emotional talisman. We revisit them not because we forget them, but because we need them. When I think about Plath's words now, I don't interpret "I eat men like air" literally. I hear something else. A refusal to be consumed instead of consuming. a declaration of agency, and that declaration still strengthens my spine. I've noticed something else. The lines that stay with us often reveal parts of ourselves we are negotiating. If someone carries a quote about freedom for 10 years, they're likely negotiating confinement. If someone returns to lines about tenderness, they may be negotiating hardness. If someone clings to defiance, they may be learning to assert themselves. Your favorite lines are emotional fingerprints. They show what matters to you at a core level. Tonight, open your journal and write down a line that has stayed with you for years. Copy it slowly, then write about why. Don't analyze the author, analyze your attachment. Does it give you courage? Does it validate anger? Does it soothe something raw? You may discover that the line has been accompanying you quietly through different seasons of your life, meaning something slightly different each time. That's not accidental. Literature doesn't haunt us without reason. It stays because it names something essential. For me, those lines from Plath still whisper strength when I need them. They remind me that rising is not always graceful. Sometimes it's sharp, it's misunderstood, it's fierce. And sometimes you need a sentence to remind you that you're allowed to take up space. Pay attention to the lines that refuse to fade. They're not just beautiful, they're revealing. And when you write about them, you begin to understand what in you has been rising all along.